Howdy friends, it's Kirsten. I really have felt like the past couple of videos have just been a little too serious for my liking. Not that they're bad, but today I'm just kind of feeling like having some fun on this channel, and you guys, if you've been watching me post videos, you probably get a sense for the fact that I'm a little bit fun-loving. I am a storyteller. I just like to laugh and have good memories and things like that. So today I wanted to start a story time series. Yeah, I think that's what I'll call it. And this is going to probably include, well, today's episode, which is going to be 3 stories about how small the ballet world is, and that is just so crazy. Mind you, I have a ton of stories, so please do let me know right away if you watch this if you want me to film more, because oh my goodness, I have so many stories and in my opinion they're cool. I don't know if they translate, so let me know. But then I also want to do some videos about not just how small the ballet world is, but maybe like some funny performing stories or like most embarrassing moments stories. Those are just simply so good. So good. A little bit painful to remember. I've probably blocked so many stories out of my memory, to be honest, that I'd have to think about it and get back to you. But anyway, today I'll get on with some really cool sign language, Kirsten. Really cool. Alright, I'm gonna get on with my 3 stories of just how small the ballet world is, and yeah, let's just have some fun. So the first one is the craziest thing in my memory. And it actually happened when I wasn't dancing, and I was kind of like removed from the ballet world for a minute. I was on a study abroad program in college. I went to Paris for a month, and it was the most magical month of my life. I did dance a little bit. I took open classes at this place called Studio Harmonic. If you're ever there, it's incredible. Totally go. But that's all I did, and the rest of the time I was just really enjoying being a tourist, studying, hanging out with people, all that. So, but of course, as a ballet lover, I had to go see the Paris Opera since their season was, I think, about to close, and so I jumped on the chance to get some tickets, and I sat up in the nosebleed section way at the top. Funny story, my friends, like 5 of them got tickets separately from me. They got tickets for the wrong day, showed up. The language barrier was just too much to overcome, but somehow they ended up getting tickets in the orchestra while your homegirl, who had the right ticket, was sitting way up at the top next to a sleeping, snoring man. Whatever. Anyway, it was a McGregor piece, Wayne McGregor. It was really cool, really interesting, because the whole thing was like an hour and 15 minutes. There was no intermission, and I was really misunderstanding the situation. I thought that there was going to be a second part and there was going to be an intermission. So after the piece ended, I went to the restroom and I was like, okay, I'll be here for a while, and everyone left, and then I realized the show was over. But anyway, that's not the funny part of the story. The crazy thing is that I go outside after the performance, I reconnect with my friends, we're talking about the show. All of them, except for one, were not dancers, and so I really liked hearing what they had to say. And we're walking away, and I get this tap on my shoulder, and I'm like, oh my gosh, some creep is trying to come after me. You just put your tourist game face on, you just keep walking, ignore whatever's happening, evacuate the situation if someone's trying to harass you or whatever. So I just keep walking with my friends and trying to ignore whatever's happening behind me. I thought the person who's tapping me would go away. Then I get more persistent taps on my shoulder, and so I whooped around, and one of my dearest friends from Houston Ballet, who I hadn't seen in like 2.5 years, was behind me, and he was like, Kirsten? And I was like, Alex? And then we both just, like, I felt like our brains just exploded, because we're both knowing each other from Houston, both in Paris, outside of the Paris Opera Ballet. We didn't even know we were on the same half of the world, and there we were. We ended up just walking around the streets of Paris that whole night, and he walked me back to my apartment. We visited and saw each other the next day before I left on a weekend trip, and then he was going to end his trip there. Oh my gosh, that was crazy. And my other story number 2, has also to do with international travel. It happened within like 2 weeks of this other story because I did some traveling on the weekends outside of Paris. And after my program was over, this also has to do with a Houston Ballet friend. I have other friends, I promise. But this was not like a Houston Ballet year-round program friend. I met this dear friend. Her name is Nastasia, and I don't know if she's watching, but if you are, hi Nastasia. We met when we were 15 years old, and we roomed together at the Houston Ballet summer program. This was my first time there, and it would be a couple years before I went there for the year-round program. So I didn't know I'd be going back eventually. Anyway, so we roomed together, and I remember getting an email notification. You know, I was young, kind of new to the whole summer intensive thing. It was only my second one, and I saw that I was going to be getting a roommate from Cyprus, the island in the Mediterranean. And I was like, okay, that's really interesting. Oh my gosh, how crazy. Oh, she's nice. And you're like thinking all these things because we'd be together for 6 weeks. And we ended up being the best of friends, and we have kept up to this day. We're 15, now we're both around 23, almost 24, and we're still good friends. So I hadn't seen her since that summer when we were 15 years old, and she had been going to Elmhurst School in England, which is attached to the Royal Birmingham Ballet, and then she was dancing professionally in Romania at the time when I was going to be in Paris, but her contract had just ended, and she said we had been connecting about potentially trying to meet up before my study abroad program. And so it ended up that we got to meet in London after 6 years and spend the weekend together. And it was just the most magical time. We ended up just going around London. I met her friends that were living there, and I went out on the town one night with these random ballerinas I'd never met in my life. Each of us were from all over the world. None of us were from England. It was so crazy, just like, what is life kind of thing. So we also ended up going to see the Highclere Castle, which is the one featured in the show Downton Abbey, which is one of my all-time favorite TV shows. So yeah, I guess there's not a climax to that story, but it's just crazy how the ballet world really is so small, and you make connections that really can last forever, even if you don't see each other once but every 6 years on the other side of the world from America. So that was really amazing, and I know we'll meet again one day. So until the meantime, though, we're just friends on Facebook, connecting every now and then, and yeah, it's cool. My third story is one that happened kind of recently, and it goes way back. So this is kind of funny because it doesn't have to do with knowing someone really well, but the summer after I went to Houston Ballet, I was 16. I went to San Francisco Ballet Summer Intensive for the first time, and I went the next summer as well. But anyway, I was there with my twin sister, and there was an RA named Whitney, and she wasn't in charge of my part of the dorm, but I interacted with her like 2 or 3 times, and that's it. And I remember she was helping us navigate a bus route or something on an outing, and I ended up talking to her, and she said, yeah, I'm a dancer with Ballet West, and I thought that was cool. At the time, I really didn't know much about the company, and anyway, so I had just kind of vaguely remembered her, and when I ended up in Utah for school, I don't think she was with the company anymore, not sure, but yeah, I had just kind of remembered, oh, Ballet West. She was one of the first people that told me about Ballet West, or like brought it into my consciousness, so I thought of her. But now, this past year, in April, I performed Midsummer Night's Dream with Oklahoma City Ballet, and we rented the costumes, and I believe they were original to Ballet West. And I didn't actually know this really until I looked in my costume after the last show and I see Whitney and her last initial. And then I remember going out, wait, no, I had already known that the costumes were from Ballet West. So I put that together, Whitney, and I realized, it was funny, I did a little Facebook search to make sure that was her last initial. I was wearing her costume. Isn't that crazy? Like, the ballet world is so small and hilarious, and I have so many more stories I could sit down and tell you. Well, I'm already sitting down, but I could continue to tell you right now. So I definitely want to do a second episode of this because I'm excited about it and I love stories, and I hope that you guys like it too. So do let me know. I've been meaning to say this, but if you haven't already, follow me on Instagram because I've been posting on there, and I made a page for this YouTube channel. Finally, I know some of you were asking me about that for a while, so I finally did it and I'm having fun with it. So if you would give me a follow, I'd appreciate it, and subscribe. And check out my Patreon account, please, if you are interested in donating to this channel, a monthly gift that helps me keep this going and just fuels my passion for spreading positivity and advice to the ballet world, people who are interested and people who need it. That is my passion. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Or I won't see you, but Alice will. Hey, Alice. Bonus footage. Did you hear that? She's so cute. Okay.